Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Hope you are having a sunny day. Ready for some news stories from Ask a Lawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's son, who is furious she is going to attend his ex-wife's wedding and walk her down the aisle, but he was the one why their marriage ended. Listen to the story to find out why, and of course hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 56 female, have two children, Bob, 30 male, and Alice, 27 female. This is about Bob. He used to be married to my daughter-in-law, Ruth, 28 female. That is until 5 years ago, Ruth discovered that Bob was cheating on her while she was pregnant with my granddaughter. I was really disappointed in my son. I taught him to be better than this. I'm a single mom. My husband died years ago, and I've remarried only after my kids were in their late teens. I know for sure my late husband wouldn't approve of Bob's cheating. So, long story short, Bob, Ruth, and I had a fight. I told him I was very disappointed at him. How could he do this to his own wife? Bob yelled at me and said that I'm his mother, not Ruth's, so I should be taking his side. I said no, I will not support his infidelity under any circumstances. My daughter also thinks that her brother is wrong, but she is neutral about it. Bob was mad and left the house. I only saw him at the divorce hearings. I left him messages that if he wants to talk, I would be open to talk, but he didn't respond to my messages. Ruth was an orphan. She didn't have anyone else, so she saw me as her mother. Even after the divorce, she would visit me and bring me some gifts like flowers or cookies. I never stopped her. Ruth also never stopped calling me mom, even after her divorce. I also loved spending time with her and my granddaughter. About 3 years ago, I set up Ruth with my friend Patty's son, John. Patty and I have been close friends since childhood. She knew Ruth really well and loved her too. It was Patty's idea to set her son up with my daughter-in-law. Ruth and John totally hit it off. John was also a good father figure to her daughter. Recently, John and Ruth got married. Ruth wanted me to be there to walk her down the aisle. She told me she walked down the aisle alone when she was married to my son, but now she wants me to walk her down. I was happy for it. So I said yes. The news reached my son. He called me to again yell at me that what I am doing is wrong. I shouldn't be talking to Ruth because she and him are divorced. He forbade me to go. I told him he was being irrational. Even if he is divorced, that doesn't mean I have to cut off Ruth. I reminded him that it was his poor choice that led him to this. I didn't listen to my son and went to the wedding anyways. My son got the news and was pissed. He kept cursing me that I am a deadbeat mom who left her own son for a W. He called me a hypocrite that I didn't go to his wedding. He married his mistress, but was gallivanting at Ruth's wedding. My husband is with me, but he says my son has a point. But my daughter says otherwise. Was I wrong to go to her wedding? I can understand how not picking your child's side would make OP feel like she did the wrong thing. OP's son sounds like a spoiled brat who is missing out on his child's life. The woman is the mother of OP's granddaughter and her friend. Their marriage ended, but that doesn't mean OP's relationship ended. All of this is on OP's son, and not because he cheated, but because of how he acted towards OP. He doesn't get to control who OP is friends with. Unfortunately for OP's son, he is the only one who might match the description for the name he called OP's ex-daughter-in-law. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Deleted user says, "Your son ruined your granddaughter's family because he wanted to get his pee-pee wet. He no longer has any legs to stand on for anything. I'm really glad you see the situation for what it is, and that you and Ruth have each other, not the a-hole." Total Pumpkin says, "You did right. But your son is too selfish to understand what a failure he has been, and the fact he married his mistress and continues to insult the mother of his child proves it. You have principle and values. Unfortunately, too many people decide to act like nothing happened. But you did not, and good for you. Remind him that his mistress, with a ring or not, will never be accepted, and you refuse to be there until he decides to wake up and be the man, the father, he is supposed to be." Dorini Magic 38 says, "Not the a-hole. You did the right thing. He was the cheater. He is in the wrong. Is it upsetting that it has to be this way? Yes, but he chose to be the bad guy. Now he has to live with the consequences. The fact that he called Ruth a W, but he was the cheater, is ridiculous. What's nice is that you still get to see your granddaughter as much as possible. It may be a long, hard road, but maybe one day he'll realize what he did. But for now, this is the way things have to be." From one mama to another, I know relationships with our children can be hard sometimes. Good luck with everything. I, 36 female, and my husband, 39 male, recently moved into a new house. We were still in the process of selling our old place when we got invited to a family dinner with my husband's mother. We were talking about our new house when my sister-in-law brought up the fact that she too was buying a new place. However, when we asked her about it, she told us that she was intending to move into our old house. At first, I was very open to selling the house to her because she is expecting a child soon and was looking to move out of my mother-in-law's. But when I asked her what she was going to offer, she laughed it off and said, "We're family. Can't you just give it to me?" At first, I thought she was joking, but then she went on talking about how my husband and I are so well off that we don't need the money. This caught me extremely off guard, especially as my mother-in-law started agreeing with her and expressing how my sister-in-law needs to save money for the baby and how we should just give her the house. I looked over at my husband, who seemed to be in disagreement, but wasn't willing to speak up. When I told her we weren't willing to give it to her for free, she and my mother-in-law got very upset, which resulted in us leaving dinner early. Ever since then, my husband's sister has been messaging and calling us nonstop, calling us all sorts of names, while simultaneously asking when she will be able to tour her new home. So, am I the a-hole? OP is definitely not in the wrong here. Sister-in-law and mother-in-law are nuts. If sister-in-law expects a free house and mother-in-law agrees, mother-in-law can give sister-in-law her house and move somewhere else. OP needs to have a serious conversation with her husband. He needs to speak up and step up and shut this nonsense down. Also, OP needs to make sure he knows this is non-negotiable so he doesn't pull something behind her back. Let's see if the community have the same opinion. No one cares at 805 says, "Not the a-hole. Block sister-in-law. Put cameras all around your house just in case she decides to move in anyways. And if you can't sell it soon, maybe rent it out to someone else. This way, they might drop the give her the house and they will just be mad that someone else is living there now. But seriously, what's wrong with his family? If mother-in-law thinks her daughter should have the house, she should have offered to buy it off you." Very awkward lady boner says, "Have to out crazy the crazy. OP, we've been thinking about adoption. Isn't that exciting?" Mother-in-law, sister-in-law, "Oh yes, it is. Which agency are you going through?" OP, "I don't think you understand. We're going to adopt that baby." Points at sister-in-law's bump. Sister-in-law, "That's crazy. This baby is not being put up for adoption. Find your own baby." OP, "Why can't you just give us that one? You don't need it and clearly can't afford it, but we can. And if that doesn't fly, offer to trade the husband for the baby because he was useless in that scenario." Convivial Cat says, "Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law and sister-in-law are insane. And I'm sorry, but your husband is being wimpy. He needs to contact them both and tell them to stop with this complete nonsense. Now. Sell that house ASAP, OP." I've known my friend D for most of my life. We met in the first grade when my family moved to a different city and have been close ever since. He met his wife Kay while in college, where they began dating and married shortly after graduating. Kay and I have always been friendly, and over the years have grown to become good friends. I've spent holidays with them, gone on trips with them, and our shared friends helped out with the kids and overall shared many great memories with both D and Kay over the years. I haven't been close with my family or seen them after moving away for college. In short, I came out as gay and they distanced themselves from me. There weren't any arguments, at least not with me, but our communication dwindled until we stopped talking completely. In their absence, D's parents were there for me. I bought my condo in early 2022. At the time, I decided that despite being single, I was ready to have a child and chose IUD. D and K, as well as our friend group, were ecstatic when I told them, and they supported me fully. With Kay being a mother of two, she helped out a lot during my pregnancy. Despite this, she seemed a little bit distant after I gave birth to B, while D fell in love with him instantly. I didn't think much of it at the time, but found it odd that she eventually stopped talking to me. Today, she asked to meet with me at a coffee shop within walking distance of my house. So I walked over to meet her with B in his stroller. I made it to the shop first and waited around a bit until she finally came in. I could tell that something was off. She sat down and tried to start off the conversation with pleasantries, but ultimately, she asked me if B was D's child. I was shocked, but also deeply upset that she thought I or D would do something like that to her. To her, B closely resembles D, as well as their children. B also happens to love D, and while I thought it was nice seeing them bond together, Kay felt their connection was deeper than just play uncle and nephew. She asked for DNA from B for a paternity test, and we got into a heated argument before I got up and left. I haven't talked with D about this, and I'm honestly not sure what I should say to him. He called to check on me last night and seemed normal, so I'm not sure if Kay has spoken with him about this yet. I also don't know if Kay has told anyone in our shared friend group about this or anyone in Dee's family, but the thought of her spreading this around has made me anxious. Well, I personally would do the test if she is willing to pay for it. It's her who's going to be embarrassed after she gets the results. I understand it's upsetting and insulting for OP, but I think that is the right route to take, even if OP is not obligated to do it at all. That way, if she causes trouble, OP can prove that it's lies. It will save OP a whole lot of hassle in my opinion. Let's see if the community agrees with me on this. Individual Foxlike says, tell D that she accused you of sleeping with him and having his child. Tell him she asked for a paternity test. Be polite but distant to Kay. Do not respond to any reconciliation offers that don't come with a full apology, with no buts. If she tells friends, laugh and roll your eyes. D should hopefully handle this on his own, once you let him know. T. Butelchin says, I'd do the test, provided they pay for it in full, and then go from there. But at the very least, I'd distance myself from them for a bit. That's an accusation that would ruin any friendship. Just the sole fact that she'd suspect you of having a child by her husband. Something must be going on between them for this idea to take root in the first place. Fruby Doobie says, don't do a DNA test on your child to satisfy this person. What an insane invasion of privacy. I, 33 female, have a sister-in-law, Eve, 34 female. We have never been close as she criticizes me for earning more than her brother and emasculating my husband, who is a stay-at-home dad. I run a daycare for kids 3 to 5 years old. After starting work there as a preschool teacher, I bought the place from my boss and have been running it since. I had to get qualifications as a teacher and get certifications in first aid, health, and safety stuff, background checks for me and my staff, etc. My sister-in-law recently split with her husband, and they have twins, 6 female. She works freelance, but since having the twins, has worked less to focus on them. She has full custody and decided to start being a childminder, picking up the twins' friends after school and expanding her business. She asked me to promote her business to parents from my daycare, and I declined. We've never been close for her to ask a favor of me. I told her I felt uncomfortable promoting her, as her business was illegal, as she didn't have any qualifications or checks done to run a business. She said that she was saving up to get them done, as they were quite expensive, and she didn't have the time right now. I encouraged her to take more freelance projects and stop the babysitting until she got her checks done. I found out recently that she has taken on more kids from the twins' classes and is continuing being a childminder. I anonymously reported her, and her business has been shut. She yelled at me on the phone for shutting her business down and called me petty for not being able to put my differences aside and let her succeed. My husband is calling me the a-hole though, as he told me his sister is going through a lot. Her ex had an affair, he doesn't pay child support, and she is struggling with money right now. I had no idea, but I told him I would have reported her regardless, as what she was doing was unsafe for the kids she looked after. No Contact Best says, not the a-hole. People who are not qualified to work with children should not be working with children for a multitude of reasons. Also, she really asked you to promote her child care services to parents you were providing care to? Ditzy Donut says, not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law was doing something illegal and unsafe. Even if you reported her because of personal differences, it doesn't matter. Having financial trouble doesn't mean you start cutting corners and put minors in danger. Stereo on Cooking Bacon 14, 22 male. She's watching her children's friends after school until she can get licensed. That does not sound like a dangerous illegal daycare. Do you know how hard it is to find a job that lets you work around a school schedule? Or for the other parents, how hard it is to find affordable after-school care? You're the a-hole. I, 42 female, recently created a will with my husband Sam, 52 male. I wanted to make sure my assets were given to everyone fairly. I have a son, Dan, 15 male, and a daughter, Ava, 17 female from my ex. My ex is not well off, and I pay him child support, and we have 50-50 custody. However, his family are well off and have money aside for Ava and Dan to go to college. Sam has a son, Jake, 22 male, with his ex, who passed away last year. Jake inherited money from his mom. I encouraged him to invest it, but he declined and spent it on holidays and an expensive car. When his money runs out, he can't sustain his lifestyle with his job. When creating my will, I decided to split my assets between Ava and Dan, and Sam would get the house. I did not include Jake, as he has already inherited money from his mom. I paid for his college, and the money I leave to Ava and Dan is about the same Jake got from his mom. Sam called me the a-hole for not treating Jake fairly and cutting Jake from the will. Sam and I don't share finances, and he's not great at money managing. His assets will only cover his debts, and I own our house. I tried explaining to him that I was dividing my assets fairly, as Jake had inherited from his mom, and Ava and Dan didn't, but he walked out of the room. He is now not talking to me and calling me the a-hole. Well, in this case, if OP's husband wants everyone to be treated equally, why didn't they split his ex-wife's inheritance with OP's children? I would suggest leaving the house to OP's kids as well, with a life estate for OP's husband. Buffalo 48 says, "Not the a-hole. This is an adult child from another woman. He's not entitled to your money because you're married to his father. Take care of your own kids." Icy Hovercraft 6379 says, "Not the a-hole, and consider possibly leaving the house to your kids as well. Make sure that will is airtight. A lawyer should look at it without Sam knowing. You're only 42, so enjoy your life, but good on you preparing for the future." Bananas for Scale says, "If Sam wants a legacy for his son, he better get a second job so his grown son can piss away his father's hard-earned money after he did the same to his mother's."